Свърза ли се, Митко?
Ти чуваш ли ме?
Да.
Супер, добре, че с тия слушалки по някой път става.
Чува се обаче някакво...
В момента методика чакам, нека ще изчака още малко. Нещо друго да си припомним, няма какво, Майя. В момента го...
Направиме ко-хост и спри рекординга за сега.
Спирам
their own product, growing their own products at home. With that said, a lot of the solutions that were already on the market were a little bit more focused towards fruits and vegetables, which is really applicable for a larger scale because, you know, growing, as me and my friends found out, growing 2 tomato plants at home is extremely expensive. You get to eat 2 salads, and that's not super exciting. I mean, it's nice to grow them, but that's not really good enough to get you through the week. So we saw a lot of solutions that are similar to ours online when we started to look for a product ourselves. It wasn't less about developing a big project. It was more about, you know, catering to our own needs. And in that case was a pot that can work on your terrace, your garden, or inside a room essentially. And being, you know, heavily involved in software, like me and my partners, this is, you know, the core expertise of our company. We don't have a lot of time and attention to care for anything living, really. Sorry, that sounds a little bit dark, but even my wife, she cannot hear me right now. I've been throwing a lot of dead plants from our terrace. That's a recurring thing. We're not doing a good job taking care of plants. So we needed something that can take care of itself. So water itself, maintain its pH level, and a few other tweaks to make growing possible. We shopped online, see what products were available, and those products exist. You know, those smart pots or garden, you know, growing kits, as they're being called, do exist, but they have a couple of problems. First of all, they're prohibitively expensive. Second of all, they're not very reliable. And what they essentially give you is, you know, just 50, 60 square centimeters of growth space, which is nice to have, you know, a flower, but it's not really, you know, well suitable to get produce out of it. So we said, okay, well, we can certainly build the software. We're building apps and backend systems for the better part of the last 12 years now. So we certainly know how to build something like that. What we also enjoy is the confidence of skilled people from the Sofia Technical University that are good with building the mechanics of something like that. You know, bear in mind, this is not a very complex system. You just need a pump and a small electronic module to get things going. And this is what's contained in a lot of our competitors' products as well. What makes really the cost prohibitive is the fact that these elements, although not expensive on themselves, when you try to stack them up, and they start to add up to the price. So these solutions right now would run on the market for about between $200 and $600. So that's, for us in Bulgaria, that's $1,000 level for essentially something the size of a big flower pot. I'm just going to show you like that, just so you can get the idea, which is, well, it's not great. If you try to build that in-house using the same methodology, you wouldn't be far away from that price. So I'm just going to do a quick summary of the, you know, the pain points that I've been delivering to you so far. So obviously the cost, the efficiency or the yield, it's been called in English. I always hated that word, but that's what we have to work with here. And again, a little bit too much focus on larger vegetables. It's really, you know, it's really terrible having just, you know, 2 tomatoes for a salad. So we said, okay, well, how we can, you know, solve those problems. And one of the ways we can tackle it is by creating those growing kits in a stackable format. So essentially you're building a mother pot that has all the electronics in it and all the next ones, so number 2, 3, 4, and 5 consecutively, are using the same electronics and are delivering the same results essentially without having all the expensive electronics in them. So, I'm bringing up again software development terminology. So that's a mother and it's 5 children that they can collaborate. So this thing will give you a total of a couple of square meters of space. So it's applicable and it's usable even on your balcony essentially. And we also changed the approach a little bit because we cannot tackle the yield problem. That's still not enough space for anything that makes sense in your kitchen. But where this thing makes sense is when you turn it over to spices. And this is something that we consume a lot of. And moreover, they have a lot of health benefits. And I'm talking about, curcuma and cardamom and saffron and things like that, that you don't really need a lot of. You're actually consuming minute amounts throughout the year, and it's perfectly possible to grow those at home. And I'm just changing here for a moment, maybe to really emphasize on that because that's an important topic. A lot of us, some of us in our 30s, back in the days, we shouldn't be suffering for so many health issues, but staying home, coding all day or, working with the computer does take a toll on your health. The last 2 years, I'm not going to comment and I'm not going to call the name of the demon we've been suffering from, but that made things worse. So we felt that that's, it's really critical that we, start pouring a little bit more money into that system and help our friends and ourselves grow a little bit healthier using in-house herbs and spices to treat, their, various ailments and conditions, if you will. So with that, I'm not going to go into, the technicalities of it all. Again, I don't want to drag this too long. I wanted to make it more of a friendly presentation as why and what we're trying to do here. And I want to twist that into the point we're trying to deliver, sort of a summary. So we're calling that a Herbie helper. Obviously, that's the name we picked up. Probably not the smartest name, but that's not super important for us. We're not trying to change the word here. But that stackable tech allows us to bring the cost down by approximately 45% per square inch. So that's, when you think about it, it's not a big number because you still have to build, the children pots, but it's half essentially. And that opens it up to a wider audience. It allows you to grow, to take care of yourself a little bit better. And if I'm allowed to joke here, but you can actually go to a dinner party with someone and bring a little bit of saffron for the risotto. And that's an awesome gift. And that's something that somebody will treasure, me and my wife, we go often, and every time you buy a bottle of wine, that's super interesting, unique. You're the smartest kid on the block. Well, how about something like that? It just adds a little bit more personal touch to somebody you love. And last but not least, with our experience in building apps, we can actually make some educated suggestions. Just to give you an example, somebody like myself suffering from sinusitis, this is very well treatable by horseradish. Very unpleasant, but when you put it on your forehead, it relieves the pain. And horseradish is something that again, you don't need a lot of, you just need a tiny bit. You can grow it yourself at home. So when it's September or October, like the time that's kicking in, and my nose is gonna give up in the next 2 or 3 weeks. I know that for a fact. You know, I've been seeing it every year. So I'm gonna need my horseradish now to, you know, do a bit prevention. So from a high level, you know, that's clean products. It ends up being cheap because that thing doesn't have to be delivered, grown, shipped. I know I'm not going to bore you with all. It's not that it's boring. I probably I trust your intelligence of how much that reduces the pollution in terms of using non-organic compounds and the CO footprint. And to reiterate, it's just fun. That's just interesting. We like it, and that's what we're building it. We're building it for ourselves. Quickly going what we're doing right now, we're building the prototypes. We're self-funding. We don't need a lot of external money for that. We're building our own software, and we're going to be testing it with friends. So we need no outside help. And we, again, not going to be dependent on any program or investors outside of our own structure. And what we're going to be doing next is when we build the prototype and we've completed that user testing, maybe at that point to scale it up, we'll be talking to outside investors, you know, based on the results and the KPIs we can deliver, so we can get, you know, more people to, you know, treat their sinusitis essentially. And I'm going to stop here, guys, and I'm opening for questions.
Thank you, Wes. You made a really nice turn exactly at lunchtime. I hope people are not getting hungry. They had their lunches before the webinar, but thank you. That's very interesting and congratulations. I'm certainly in for testing and supporting the validation process. Are there any questions, reactions, suggestions from our audience? So I guess we just all support you. And I guess you put your contact details in the presentation, or if you haven't, you can also share. Feel free, guys, to share your LinkedIn or other profiles here in the chat. It will be nice to connect with each other. It's a networking event after all, not in person, unfortunately, but let's work in the virtual environment. And again, feel free to share your contacts and for everyone, not just to our presenters. My message is
happy to talk to anybody about it. Again, nothing proprietary about our technology. We're really using things we learned in software to make it more cost efficient, and we're doing it for ourselves. So we're happy to share, collaborate, anything, you know, where you know, you're essentially doing that for all of us. So thank you, guys. Let's keep in touch. Have a good day.
And we have a proposal for you from the cluster to join the initiative of Towards Green Transition Facility that we're currently running. So we certainly get in touch with you. Anton also agrees he needs to test it. Okay, good. See, just leave your contacts and people will get in.
Well done, well done.
Yeah, nice. Any others to join? Okay. So we proceed. I am happy to give the floor now to Anton Sutirov to present Sesame and the initiatives that they have in smart technologies and smart solutions. Feel free to share your screen.
Hello from me. I'm happy to join you and to tell you more about the parking and other sharing solutions that we develop. So basically, let me share my screen. So do you see my screen? Perfect.
Yes, we do.
Basically, we started 2 or 3 years ago thinking about the parking industry in general, and we stumbled upon the an old parking industry report, and it shared that basically here are just the numbers. Basically, the most of the parking space in our cities is off parking space, which off-street parking space, which means that this is our homes in the city center, business offices which have a parking space, and this is not the usual on-street parking space, the blue zone or the green zone in the cities, which is paid to the municipality. This is owned by the private individuals and businesses. And when it comes to using that private space in Europe, at least in Western Europe, they have some P2P sharing solutions for that. They're really not really flexible. It involves doing some kind of long-term contract to use that space. In Bulgaria, the long-term contracts are actually when you live in the city center and you want to use your car in the paid zone. So you need a parking space for your, a private parking space for your car. But when it comes to sharing parking space on the spot, like when you need it, in Bulgaria, when you go to a paid zone in some city center or somewhere else where there's a lot of traffic and there's not much space, like in business parks or some kind of bigger business neighborhoods, you don't have a lot of options to park your car. And there's a lot of frustration in that. And you need to go around a lot to find a parking space. So when thinking about this, in Bulgaria, they started putting, I think it's really a Balkan thing. Every building started putting some kind of barrier in front of the building, garage or parking, and essentially to stop people from parking in your property, which is totally fine, but it reduces the off-street parking space available. And we really need to open that up for sharing to people who are willing to pay and want to use a more private space or a more dedicated parking space for their car. So what we did is we created a solution that works, that's a mobile app combined with a dashboard, and also involves some IoT sensors and controllers that are installed inside the barriers. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about the solution. Basically, you can invite drivers via a link, and you can start sharing your space to people who then use their app to open the barrier. Now here comes our innovation in that we created a really nice app that can open any barrier with one click, basically. And that's really really important when you're traveling in your car and you're right next to the barrier. You don't want to go and look around for your key card or to open some frustrating app. You just want to click one button and open the app. That's what we created, and it's really easy to use. There's not much clutter inside the interface. It's perfect for driving. Here's a demonstration of the app with a little prototype that we made a year ago. So basically, when you open the app, it detects that you're right next to the barrier. It tells you to, there's one button, you open and you go inside the parking. You go around, you park your car, after an hour or two, you go out and you go back to the same place, and it shows you again the other barrier, and you can click it again to open it and go out of the parking. Essentially, around this, we built the other payment solution. We're in the process actually of building the payment solution in order to enable the sharing. But the access and the granular access sharing is done for us. Basically, our clients are business offices who want to get rid of the plastic cards. It's also business parks or private parkings who want to enable smoother access for their visitors. We want to create basically what we found out during our journey so far is there are two approaches to building a smart city ecosystem, let's say for parking in particular. So one of the drivers is the municipality. They, for example, in Germany, that's how they try to tackle the problem. They create some city-owned data hub, which is open to innovation, and companies can use the data and they can build solutions on top of that. For example, for parking sensors or access some kind of parking network infrastructure. And people like technical innovators, they can build their parking solutions around that. This is kind of working, but it still doesn't allow too much business approach, strictly business approach. So the municipality cannot make too much business out of this, like a private company can. In other parts of Europe, we found out that people, for example, in Spain, they do a similar solutions for their own buildings, and they just write a message in WhatsApp and the door opens, and clever solutions like that. But this is really just the beginning of a network. So for example, if I go to a strange neighborhood and I want to park my car, I cannot use each and every solution I cannot access inside this neighborhood. And even if somebody wants to share their space with me, I cannot access it. So we focused on building the app so parking space can be shared using web links, using our application, and we can connect essentially any barrier using our IoT solution. And we think that this is the beginning of creating a sharing economy. With our business partners who offer their space for testing. Right now we have two clients. One is a parking space with around 40 parking spaces, and there is a paid zone and there's a private zone. So we are going to test the payment solution with them. The other is really an office building with a logistics center with an office building, and the people are using actually they are learning to use the app to park their car inside the office and they don't want to use their cards. So this is what this is our progress so far. Really, we are really confident with the solution that we have. The app is, I would say, really good. We fixed a lot of issues with using it, and it works really well when you're right in front of the barrier. It opens it almost instantly, which is really one of our goals. And the next goal is to go out and find buildings that want to implement this solution for their own people who are using their parking space. From there, it will be really an easy step to, let's say, offer the possibility to those business clients, office buildings, and so on, to open their space for the public. And anyone who wants to park their car inside some private building, they can find that building inside our app, and they can decide to go and use the parking there. And this is our business focused approach to getting the owners of the parkings involved, because this is the hardest part, to get them involved. And by making it easier for them and doing something cool, innovative, making it easier to use their infrastructure. After that, introducing the co-sharing thing when the network grows. So that's it. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. It's been really interesting, Anton. Thank you. And actually, we have a question from Svetoslav Paunov, who would like to ask you to share a few details about how you communicate with barriers. If you would elaborate on that.
Yeah, there's two ways. One of the ways is to use a Bluetooth sensor inside the barrier, which is detected by the phone, and then the phone can issue a command and open the barrier. So this works even if you don't have GPS. It's easy to do, just to make it, to start working like that, to make an app like that. What we have perfected during the years is to allow the sensors to work really fast and really to show you the correct barrier when they're more tightly put together. So, for example, in one of our test use cases, you go inside a place, you open the barrier, then you go a little bit further, you go inside the secondary private parking. So that is really smooth when you open the app. The solution that to wrap it up, to open the barriers, we do a centralized approach. So every barrier is connected to our server. We can offer the solution so every space can basically have its own Sesam server, and it's more federated approach. Basically, you have your own access, and you don't give up the access to your place to some company. This is a solution that we can implement. Nobody has asked so far about this one. So these are the two ways.
Okay, thank you. I guess this answers your questions, Svetoslav. And of course, guys, you can connect with each other and take it further. And I see there is a discussion going on from the cluster. Dimitar is asking you, do you need the support from the municipality, or you prefer to be more focused on your smart business model?
I think for a municipality, it's easy to open up the space and to allow easier, basically to put exact rules. How can some private owner share their parking? So this is going to ensure some kind of environment that we can innovate on. Right now, it's a little bit unknown what are the regulations for that. This is one of the ways that a municipality can help, basically make it easier to enable parking sharing. Right now, you have to have, at least that's what I read lastly, you need to have some approval written approval from the mayor of the region. You need to have some firefighting license, stuff like that, because you are basically opening up parking, which is used by external visitors. It's kind of tricky if we start doing a business. It's going to get, any company is going to face the problems. Am I allowed to actually open up so much parking space? And this maybe needs further discussions.
Okay. And I see Dimitar Filipov, you want to ask your questions? You can share it with us. Okay, the only comment that I see is that you probably agree that you need smart infrastructure in order to widely implement the system. This is what Mitko Filipov put here in the chat, but we cannot hear him.
Yeah, I read the chat. So do you have a working solution or a pilot project?
Yeah, this was the next question that popped up.
Yes, you absolutely need smart infrastructure. Basically, we have developed the smart sensors and the smart controllers that we put inside each barrier. They are cheaper than other solutions. For example, cameras which read registration plates. They also are more private friendly, privacy oriented, because you don't need to have a camera everywhere on every barrier. That's what usually big parkings, for example, shopping malls or trading centers or some big food store. We do have a working solution, and I can give the details to test it. If you are in Sofia, you can go and it's next to Business Park. And this is the pilot project as well. There's another pilot project, but it's more on the private side, which is an office building, and you cannot access that. But the public solution pilot project, you can test it.
Okay, thank you so much. And once again, everyone here, all attendees and participants, feel free to share your contact details, or via the chat, you can contact directly our presenters. I see that Anton also put his LinkedIn profile and phone number. You will receive the presentation, so you will get his contact details. And I suggest we proceed. Thank you so much for the interest. Thank you so much, Anton, for sharing the development of Sesam. And we're happy that we have such members in our cluster. Unfortunately, we're limited in time. Otherwise, we would have shown you many more examples. But these are the three that we succeeded for today. And now it's turn to get into the next part and the next type of representation that I mentioned in the beginning of the public sector. We're really happy to have here with us Metodika Tarlovska from Innovative Sofia Municipality. And we're really happy to have you with us today and to hear more about the sandbox for innovative solutions of your department. The floor is yours.
Hello, thank you so much. It's really nice to see all of you here. I'm part of this kind of event for the first time. My name is Metodika Tarlovska and I'm part of the team of Sofia Innovative Sofia. I will show you what we are doing. As you can see, we have Sandbox Innovative Sofia. Probably most of you are thinking, when you hear Sandbox, you're thinking about children and some free time. But here we have a different idea and we want to share it with you. First of all, I want to tell you that we are the Digitalization, Innovation and Economic Development Department of Sofia Municipality. And we are established in 2020 and support Sofia's development as smart, digital, innovative and tech city. So you can see that it's not an easy job, but we are doing our best and we are open every time for new ideas and projects. For example, I want to give you more details about our sandbox because it's our way to collect different ideas and to implement them in our capital, because we are a big city and we are responsible in front of our citizens and our guests to make everything possible, to offer them one very simple decision how to use everything what we have in this capital. This project, as I said, it's Sandbox, and this box is for innovative tech solutions. They're collecting there from our partner, which want to share some new ideas or solution for urban challenges or something with transport, ecological and educational challenges which every town is having. And we are focusing on test innovative technology solutions, defining projects which are including under the DTSA action plan. We are generate a data support, evidence and database solutions and pilot projects. We improve the quality of public services through innovation, promote the quality of life in Sofia. As I said, we are trying to give more opportunities to all people which are coming here, not only for joy and for business, or just to look around, to find out how much opportunities we have and how they can use them. We support the development of this local ICT and innovative sector, and we hope that after a few times, Sofia will be more responsible for the innovative ideas which are closer to the citizens and they can use them. For example, we have a lot of projects, but today we decided to show you some of them just to make an example how we are working. One of them is the new wedding portal. As you know, there are a lot of administrative work. You have to go on person to fill a lot of documents and to make everything real face to face, but we are living in different times. And as we said at the beginning of this event, it's really important to make more of our life digital because you never know what will happen. And our idea was to make it easier to all people, because you have to take one day off to go there and to make everything clear, to set the date, and to take a responsible person from the administrative staff. to say that do you want to have a music or just something else. And the big challenges here were with the payments, how you will pay. We have solutions for everything now. You can make everything online when you want, where you are, and when you decided that the time is. So you can pay everything online. You can see what you can choose. You can call if there is some other problems, but everything will be possible for a few minutes. You have to just decide. The other one, our project is green energy in the communal services. It's for some kindergarten. They have a system which is generate green energy, and they can use it. So they are not using the electricity only from the electricity companies. They generate this energy and they use it for their own decisions. And the other, our solution is again for kindergartens, and we hope that someday they won't be able only for them. It will be for a lot of other buildings, and not only for our buildings, for everyone, is air quality system. This system is a smart system, and this system is checking the air quality, and when there is not enough air, it's giving a sign that you have to open the window or you have to change the air in this room. We know that it's very important for these children to have one healthy atmosphere, so we are trying to do our best. And this system is helping to the staff to be prepared for everything and not to miss something, which is important. And the other one is our new platform. Probably today is one very interesting day because we are starting of these directions for address registration. We have new platform which is helping to all people to change their address registration without to go on purpose somewhere, without to have electronic signature with device. We are using application which is very simple, and it's easier for everyone. I think so. I hope so. After a few months, I will tell you the results. I hope. So this new platform is giving you opportunity to fill everything what you need and to use application to identify yourself. And so it's not, there is no need to go to the municipality and someone to see your face and your ID card and to say, yes, it's you. So we are using this application. You can fill your application for address registration. To take your documents with you, you can upload them. And you're signing this application with your electronic signature without device, as I said. And I can say that for the 2 weeks we were testing it in one of our districts, it was really popular, and people were saying that it was really useful, it was easy to use, and I hope that probably one day we can use it not only for this administrative service. And as I said, we are always open for new ideas and new projects. As you can see, we have a lot of connections, and everyone who is capable or everyone who has some ideas can share them with us, and we can make everything was what we can do to realize these ideas. If you have some questions, I will be happy to answer. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for this interesting presentation. Now there is a new model for collaboration that I don't think the previous participants considered, but just to generate, implement, and develop the innovations, it's a very interesting collaboration model with the municipality, not only tenders and doing direct business. Are there any questions from the audience? Any maybe suggestions, ideas that came to your mind and you can suggest even now for the sandbox? Okay. Maybe I can ask you just one very quick question. In general, when we talk about projects and initiatives, of course, we need to keep in mind the overall strategy of the smart city development and transformation. From your experience and the work that you do, who you think should be responsible? Is it one person or a team for the transformation of the city into a smart one?
It's
To
really
manage all the projects and implement them all together as a portfolio, not just single initiatives.
Yes, it's really hard to say that one person can make everything to be more digital. That's why I think that we have to be a very good team. We are not only municipality, and the other part of the business can help to give us idea and to work together to make our town one better place, more digital and more friendly for everyone.
And in terms of management, in the case of the municipality, is it your department that is like the head?
Yes,
of the smart
yes, we are
city
trying to,
transformation?
we are doing our best to
But
make
you're the
more
responsible
digital.
one.
Yes, our department is making a lot of these projects, and we are trying to make better digital decisions to come in real life.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
actually, what I did is try to make the transition to our next participant and switching to the next group of presentation, if I can stick to the word groups. Thank you once again, Metodika, for the presentation. And again, her contacts are on the slides. So feel free, all the participants, to contact this department and really take advantage of what has been developed so far and what they offered. Again, it's a great initiative, and I like the idea of the sandbox. Sounds like fun and not hard to develop innovations anymore. And now I give the floor to Christian Filippo from our cluster to share with you the next topics and some ideas about the development of more strategic as association from our side, as we are trying to build a bridge and develop these collaboration models between the various groups of players in this complex and interrelated ecosystem. Christian, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Milena. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much for the very interesting presentations. Actually, it's they make my life much easier. I'll come to my presentation. Let me just share it for a second, and you can actually see.
Okay. It's shared.
Okay, it's shared. Everybody's seeing this.
Yes.
Well, the whole idea, we actually we have heard several, and actually also seen several of innovations that are being introduced slowly into Sofia. They're very interesting aspects. I'll try to cover them a little bit in my presentation, which is in general very generic. It's more of to start thinking about what is a smart city and how can Sofia move into the smart city category. And basically, we're starting from this. It's about, and it's not about technology, because we start talking about the technologies that make everything digital. As Metodika said, we're trying to be more digital. We're focused more on technology. It's not only the municipality, it's not only the citizens. All businesses are doing the same thing. But the issue is, smart city, it is about technology. As the first presentation actually showed us, it actually boosts the effectiveness of urban infrastructure, garbage collection, also parking infrastructure. It could help us using technology to do that. And it's most importantly, it increases the quality of municipal services. Basically, using technology helps us reach these efficiencies and higher quality of services. And everybody knows it's not necessary to talk about this in great detail, but technologies rely on a video-based data collection, advanced data analytics, all these things. For example, I just want to interrupt my own presentation. I would just like to say, if anybody would like to have a question or interrupt me, I'll be happy to go into this detail, because this presentation is more of a thought process more than presenting what things are, how things are. So the issue here is that we have quite a lot of cameras in Sofia, which are installed by the municipality. And at the same time, we're not absolutely sure whether this data is actually used very effectively. to
Please,
do
sorry
all
to
these.
interrupt you. Sorry, really sorry. We are seeing only slide number 7. I don't know if this is your intention, and maybe you
I don't
could
know
put it
what's
in
happening.
a, yeah, you could put it in a slideshow mode.
Okay, it's in a slideshow mode. Do you see the
We can
slides
only see
changing?
slide 7.
Okay. I don't know what's wrong with my camera here now. So, would you like to
Yes,
put
I
down
can
the
share
presentation?
it. Yes, this was
You
my
shared that
suggestion.
there's something is apparently is wrong with my computer. So, or the setup. So anyway, I can keep on going. You're looking at my presentation here. So I would just like to, so do you see the presentation now? Hello?
I hope everybody can see it. We are on the title slide, yes.
So let's move it to the next one. Smart city is and is not about technology. And the third slide. Okay, now we can see this. Here's the issue is that smart city, the more technology we use, we actually collect quite a lot of data. And this data can be used not only to increase quality and improve efficiency, but also to make very good evidence-based decisions. But here is the issue. Smart city projects require significant investment in technology and a very deep knowledge of ICT projects, which basically is the reason why we're talking with Sofia Municipality. As you see, the people are dealing with innovation and digitalization. Could you pass on the next slide? At the same time, smart city is not about technology. Actually, it's about the integration of systems and business processes, management coordination. Actually, it's aligning the actions of multiple players. And this is also mentioned by the previous presentation that it's very difficult. Whether you're dealing with with the owners of different parking lots, or you're dealing with garbage collection companies, or anything you deal with, you have in a smart city project, you have a lot of stakeholders, and they have to be aligned. The action have to be aligned. And actually, the most critical thing, and this is what we'd like to discuss a little bit further. If you have any questions, and if anybody would like to get into this line of the question, bringing multiple stakeholders together. And this is the issue, bringing a lot of people together, and they have to collaborate jointly, have collective responsibility over a very long period of time, because smart city projects are not like these one-offs here and one-off there. It's actually an overall approach where you have the different segments supporting the whole idea. And as we're coming into an election cycle right now, we have elections very soon. We all know that it's very difficult to do this because stakeholders have priorities change, and municipal governments are very susceptible to political changes and elections. So let's move to the next slide. And coming to the point, it's not about technology. It's actually it is about technology. The truth is, smart city cannot exist without technology. What actually we do is, when we say the most important thing is to collaborate, the collaboration, bring multiple stakeholders together. But actually, technology allows us to do that efficiently. Without ICT technologies, we could not do all these meetings. For example, we could have not done this meeting if we didn't have the technology available. And I would like to go back to the previous point, and maybe we can have a discussion. And people, if you have any questions or comments on this, it is the technology that allows us to actually enter into a higher level of collaboration, but at the same time, we need to coordinate better, align rules better, everybody who's involved in such a large scale project like this. And the truth is that smart city technologies are far more complex than any technology developed for a commercial client segment. So it has to apply to a lot of people, to everybody. And in this respect, it has to be very well designed, very well thought through. And actually, this is the reason why smart city projects are the bedrock for innovation, because you need to develop a very highly customized model, a very highly customized technological solution, through the collaboration of multiple stakeholders, which is really, and they're all local, which is really very complex and as a undertaking. So if anybody would like to jump in and have any questions or thoughts on this, I would love to discuss a little bit further, but let's move to the next slide. Let's talk about the design and implementation challenges that smart city projects have. Could I have the next slide, please? One is we're not talking about Sofia per se, we're talking about cities all over, the big cities all over the world. In general, we have there's a very interesting survey and research on the experience of over 167 cities worldwide. In general, the conclusion is that usually municipal governments do not have staff with the expertise to develop, manage, or monitor smart city projects. And here the solution is very quickly, the private sector has both. But here comes the other problem, that public-private partnerships are quite difficult to manage. And then there's another issue, that the public procurement process that municipalities use, I'm not talking only about Sofia, we're talking about municipalities worldwide, are not designed in general to implement innovative technology projects, the general procurement practices. And as I mentioned before, it's sustaining a project. It's very easy to start a project, a large project, which is very technology intensive, finance intensive, and it takes a long time to implement. But at the same time, priorities of the private stakeholders change, municipal governments are influenced by elections and policy changes. So the process has to be, or the projects have to be designed very well from the get-go, so they can sustain the change in direction and the change in policy orientation. Can we have the next slide, please? And the other issue is we're coming again to the capacity, coming back to the private sector has, as I mentioned before, the private sector has a lot of the tools, can help municipal governments implement through public-private partnerships, and they're done in many places around the world. The issue is here that in general, smart city projects would need smart management. And here is probably where I would like to ask, what is your opinion of this? I actually believe that municipalities need to attract staff. They have to have their own staff, not completely relying on partners that have a very good understanding of ICT, information and communication technologies, and are trained in effective management techniques, which is very difficult because you have multiple stakeholders, communication, hand-holding of the different stakeholders is very important as well. It will be very nice if the municipalities could attract people who have a lot of experience in implementing technology-intensive projects. They're very different from other projects in general, as most people who have implemented such projects know. And on top of that, the city needs to attract people that have excellent communication skills, excellent teamwork and collaboration skills, because it's smart city, it's to a large extent about collaboration. They should have a very good understanding of procurement and finances. So these are the things that we have noticed from the experience of 167 cities worldwide. What are their general problems? So we distilled this. And can we move to the next slide? Sorry. And here is an issue that we also have. People have it in a lot of municipalities across the world have the same problem. We also have this problem in Bulgaria most recently. It's not in particular about the cities, but in general with the COVID pandemic. Very often there's some resistance to going digital or becoming more smart, introducing technology, because a lot of the citizens do not know how to use the technology. And this is a very tricky thing. For example, a lot of cities around the world would not like to introduce a lot of e-services to the municipality because the older generations cannot use them, or certain people do not speak the language like we have immigrants in other countries. In general, the difference between a smart city project and any other technology intensive project is that smart city projects must be inclusive. They have to be able to apply to everybody. They have to be designed to be used by everybody, including the people who do not speak the language, the people who actually are not familiar with technology. And it's very, very difficult to overcome these disparities in the digital skills of the population in the city. Because of that, it requires a lot of thinking, a lot of designing, how to make the solutions more user-friendly for different age groups, for different economic backgrounds, and requires a lot of customization of technology. And in this customization and finding like unique solutions to address this problem that, you know, in general, you would not have that often in the private sector if it was only a private sector implementation for a private sector client. This actually brings the innovation, because you bring a lot of people together to collaborate to achieve a common goal, and they have to find a new solution. They cannot rely on existing technical solutions. So in general, smart city projects take time. They require significant investment, but they actually promote innovation and collaborative development. This is exactly what Sofia needs, and this is exactly the direction where we're heading. Next slide. And that's it. That's my presentation. I wanted to breeze very quickly through. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer. Or if you have any comments, will be even better.
Thank you, Christian. Okay, I see. Okay, very briefly, quick question. Which, in your opinion, is the main reason for the difficult spread of innovation, technologies, products, and services for smart city governance? Whether the design thinking approach is the medicine for it?
Definitely. This approach, the design, let me put my video on. Can you see me now?
Yes.
Yes.
We can see you and we can hear you.
So the smart city approach is basically, there's a lot of hurdles for innovation in the cities, but having a smart city, a smart design thinking approach to the problems is probably the best one. Here we have a very significant string of issues. I would not call them problems. First of all, you have to adjust the infrastructure we have. We have to adjust the infrastructure, how people use it. But then this is not sufficient, because you have to actually change the mindset of the people who are using it. And then you have to change the mindset of people who are designing it. And then you have to change the mindset of the people who are making the decisions, because in general, in smart city projects or citywide projects in general, there is very few decision makers can actually claim, I made this. It's usually not about one or two people, it's about a lot of people. So it's design thinking is probably the solution, because you have to start the process of changing the mindset of the people who are actually designing the rules for these who are going to make the decisions. And then the people making the decisions have to also change the way they approach things. And then you change the user, and then you actually build the actual infrastructure. We are talking all about infrastructure. Basically, that's what it is. You have an app that actually helps use the infrastructure better, or you have some technology that makes the use of infrastructure much more efficient and stuff like that. But you need to change how you approach things. Business as usual is not going to work. We actually tried it and failed many, many times.
Okay, thank you. I would like to share, there is a suggestion here from Mitko Nikol. If you allow me, I'll just read it out loud.
Yeah.
That he's representing the Center for Independent Living, and actually all suggestions and ideas that have been proposed so far, I need to think about the people with disabilities. Completely agree, it's indeed very important,
Yes.
very relevant. So I guess with all participants and again, the projects and solutions that have been suggested, you can get in touch with Mitko. I guess it's okay. And maybe he can share his contact details here in the chat and take it further. Or maybe there is also some option already and that it just needs to be discussed, that they have been doing something in this area.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that can be done. For example,
I think this note is for everyone. Yeah, I didn't want to point it directly to you, Chris.
Yes.
Just it was for everyone to get in this field. But yes, feel free to share your contacts here. Thank you. The email is here, so we can use it. Are there any, Chris, sorry I interrupted you. Would you like to share something else briefly?
No, I just wanted to urge people, if they have any thoughts on this. I'm trying to focus not so much on the technology, I think this is the easy part. It's my personal subjective opinion. And focusing on the collaboration. How can we actually collaborate and how do you structure things? I'll be really grateful if Sofia municipality has some ideas how they work with people to bring them together. It's as people say, like herding cats, making sure that people are working together. So this is the whole idea. If anybody would like to give some insights or ideas, it would be really nice how to approach this.
Thank you for connecting the dots and putting it all together. And I guess, yeah, it's any comments, suggestions before we proceed? Elaboration on the ideas of Christian? Okay, we'll keep working in this direction, and collaboration is very important. And thank you for this transition that you just made. I will spend only 5 minutes, no more, because it's something directly related to the last point of smart cities are not only about technology as it's an enabler. It's very important, but then we need the people, and this was one of the reasons. Now I'll tell you the secret methodica. That's why I asked you who is the smart city manager. This is something that we've been working on. I'll share my screen, show you only a few slides. Yeah, just to give you an idea of what we have been working on in the past 2 years, as I mentioned in the beginning. This particular webinar is also a capstone and final event of our efforts in the past 2 years under the project Smart Technology by Design. The whole idea was to combine really and apply the approach of design thinking, which is very relevant, having in mind all stakeholders and the citizens being in the center to develop smart city solutions by the business. The key topics, design thinking. When we talk about innovation, we mean disruptive, something really radical and very smart for smart city solutions, with the whole idea of closing actually the skills gap. And here is the people's part that we talk about. What we did is we developed all solutions and our results mainly for the business, so that they can prepare the managers, owners, and of course the employees, and those who support them, trainers, coaches, mentors, and consultants. I'll show you the website at the end, but everything is there, you can find it. Here are the particular results. What we did is starting with the disruptive innovations in cities. There is a very detailed and elaborated overview of existing key technologies, their development, further development. And then we also worked on some case studies across various countries who are partners in this project. So you can get familiar with these examples. Maybe they will inspire you for your own business or for your ideas or for the sandbox of Innovative Sofia. Then we developed also a training program, and this was one of the main findings when we did the first webinars and face-to-face meetings and interviews. It turned out that yes, companies, SMEs and startups know that they need to do. They know the technology, but they don't know how to do it with the people and how to develop really these disruptive innovations in terms of capabilities. That's why we started with this framework of what is needed. And Krista already mentioned that you really need to have certain skills like for communication, for project management. This is all tied together. And you can see here the 4 main modules that we developed. They are the smart city and disruptive technologies, providing some tools. Around these modules, we actually developed a toolkit with concrete examples, templates, and tools that all of you can use and download from the website. We covered also the topics about business models, innovation and design thinking with all the steps, ideas for exercises, for some teamwork, and of course, all of it is directly related to the need of the managers and owners to better enhance the skills and capabilities within their organizations. And purposefully, we included entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship, not because these are new topics, but because the mindset within our businesses is very important and the main driver. As we discussed already earlier in various cases, it's all about people, but it's all about the way of thinking and the way and idea of being creative. So entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship are included as modules. Here, a few words about ourselves. We are actually 6 organizations from 4 different countries. We were really lucky and happy to work together with 3 types of organizations. From one side, we had Gaia and Aries, who are representing the business at big clusters and associations. The nonprofit organization, our organization, and United Academics from the Netherlands. And then we have 2 universities who, of course, helped us and contributed with the academic part and the framework development. Here is the journey. I'll just go quickly. Everything is out there now for your use and testing and application. The next is skills for cities. The main objective of this next project is basically to develop these competencies and provide a validation tool for certification for 3 types of professionals within the smart city management, and the competencies that will be further developed. This project is still going on, and I'm pretty sure very soon we will have another webinar or hopefully face-to-face session with you, and we can present more results and test them. This is how you can find us. As I already mentioned a couple of times, Smart by Design is the project website where you have access to all materials that we developed. We are open to suggestions, ideas, comments. And I will stop here because we are a bit over time. Of course, I'm open to questions and ideas. I will be happy to hear also some ideas. And that's it from my side. So let me know. Okay, when and how these training modules will be open? By the end of actually by the end of this month, very soon next week, they will be already published. They have been tested, and they will be available for everybody, as I said, to be downloaded and used. Our contact details of all organizations that participated are there as well, so feel free to contact us. What else I can share with you is the modules are supported by training materials. We did our best to make them as relevant to the business needs as possible. So hopefully we made them interactive and interesting. And we included some overview and how to say theoretical concepts as well, just as a support to how to use the templates and the tools. Any other questions? Okay, and again, it's me, my turn. It's been a pleasure to spend the past almost 2 hours with all of you. Thank you once again for the interactions. I feel happy because this was my wish in the very beginning, to have interactions and not to be just a presentation mode session. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you learned something. I hope you met somebody. And as I usually say, and most of you who know me, I really focus on networking and say, most important thing is collaboration, networking and networking again. So hopefully this is also one of the benefits for you from today's session. Thank you very much and have a very nice and lovely weekend ahead.
Thank you so much. Goodbye. Have a lovely weekend.